He is a Pakistani-American Muslim. He's a journalist and television anchor at Al Jazeera. And he's an off-Broadway award-winning playwright. His play, The Domestic Crusaders, was the first play to detail the post-9/11 Muslim-American experience. He's the lead author of a Center for American Progress reports titled Fear Incorporated, The Roots of the American Islamophobia Network. He was honored as a generation change leader by former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and as an emerging Muslim American artist by the Muslim Public Affairs Council. He is a contributor to The Washington Post, The Guardian, Slate, Salon, The Atlantic, and The New York Times, just to name a few. He is also a Harker alum, class of 1994, and he was awarded the Distinguished Alumni Award by Harker in 2010. So, he does more things than I think I could imagine one person ever undertaking, and I didn't even really fill out that bio at all completely, nearly not at all. And as a Muslim American, I am very, very grateful for the work that he's doing. So without further ado, please give a warm welcome to Mr. Wajahat Ali.
Born and raised in Fremontistan, California. Anyone here from Fremont? Yes, we're taking over the world. And I grew up with 3 generations in one house, very old school, my grandmother, my parents, myself. And my parents thought it would be hilarious to teach their American-born child zero English. Then she said, we have a talent show coming up with the elder classmen in 6th and 7th grade. You're gonna have to recite the story in front of all of them. I'm like, oh, no! So I did it, and I recited the story, and they all loved it. And for the first time, I had power in my voice, because I shared my story, and I got the respect of my peers. I took the story home to Fremontistan. My dad, this is all true by the way, my dad's sitting there drinking chai, reading the story, and he goes, Beta, son, you know, you have a talent. You should think about becoming a writer. And my mom was in the kitchen and she runs around, she goes, yes, but first become a doctor. It's very good. This is the question, all right? I'll translate. Log kya bolenge? Log kya kahenge? What does that mean? What will people say? What will people say? You didn't get into Stanford? Log kya bolenge? What will people say? You didn't get a 4.0? Log kya bolenge? What will people say? You have 125 National Merit Scholars? You're not a National Merit Scholar. Log kya bolenge? What will people say? You married a 6.5 on the hotness scale? Log kya bolenge? Log kya bolenge is one of the most diseased, toxic, painful, insidious questions that drives people like us and imprisons people like us, people with privilege. I've seen it make people miserable, and I've seen it make people who have had the opportunity to live actually healthy, fulfilling lives, marginalize themselves to fit into a checklist of success that is handed to them by other people. So all of a sudden the door kind of graduates into something cool, but then 9/11 happens, and the 2 towers fall. And I'm sitting there in my pajamas with my roommate Esin Sheikh on College Avenue watching the 2 towers fall, and then they say in the ticker that it seems that violent extremists and Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda have claimed responsibility. At this time, I was a 20-year-old senior at UC Berkeley, undeclared. Fall season, around this time, almost around this time, right, like last week, 14 years ago. And I closed my eyes and I said, I just imagined the future. I imagined the next 10 years. And being a student of American history, being the minority kid, being the token kid, being multi-hyphenated, I realized things were gonna get really tough. And I remember this, I had this image, I said, we're gonna have to do a lot of work. It's gonna be a tough next 10 years. Now I opened my eyes at that time and I got back to work. And if you rewind and take the DeLorean back to 9/11, DeLorean, by the way, is a pop cultural reference. Anyone know who I'm talking about? This is why Harker exists. Yes, Back to the Future. For those of you who don't know Back to the Future, your parents have failed you. Hang your head in shame and go home tonight and rent it on Netflix. But 9/11 happened, and similarly, in our small way, I wanted to appeal to the goodness of people, right? And we reached out across the aisle and worked with the administration. I said, this is a teachable moment. Out of tragedy and pain and suffering, there can be some good. Because I believe that people don't have a malicious heart. I think most people are well-intentioned. They just don't know any better. And so what we did as a student leader, 20 years old, is we reached out and we did the first open Jummah prayer, right? It was a week after 9/11. And we said, anyone who wants to come join the Muslim prayer. And 1,100 people showed up, right? And next thing you know, I'm on Fox News and, right-wing radio, and it was my first interesting experience of being the other and being interrogated. It was interesting. It was all experience that has come back to help me. But around that time, I was also enrolled in Professor Ishmael Reed's short story writing class. You ever read Fences? I said, yes. You ever read Long Day's Journey in the Night? I said, yes. Write me something like that. I'm like, what? And I'm like, this is a short story writing class. Can I just start doing short stories? He goes, no, you're gonna have to write me 20 pages of a play about a Pakistani-American Muslim family. Give me 20 pages by November or you'll fail the class. Take it out of the class, do it, take care of peace. And I'm like, oh God. So I started writing The Domestic Crusaders, the play, for my 21st birthday as a senior at UC Berkeley following the aftermath of 9/11. I submitted 20 pages by December, and fast forward, it's April, I'm 21 now, I'm about to graduate, I've gone to law school, right? Things are looking good. What happens instead? My parents get in a lot of trouble. They lose all their money. I'm the only son, I'm the only child. I have to leave school in April, right? I leave school in April to help out my family. I don't graduate. And within 6 months, we lose our house, we lose our savings, we lose all our money. I'm the sole breadwinner for my family and for my 2 grandmothers at home. I did a little prayer, and I'm like, whatever's meant to happen is gonna happen. And this is actually a very strange story. I had the best night's sleep I've ever had as an adult, right? Because there's literally nothing else I could do. And I woke up, I got a small loan, and life it went on. Speaking of my life going on, I'm now 23, fast forward. And we're slowly recovering. My credit shot to hell. I have no money left. My friends are in graduate school. My friends are traveling abroad. They're fulfilling the checklist. I'm staying at home completely broke. And I revisit this play, The Domestic Crusaders. And the reason I revisited it is I'm like, while everything's falling apart, I wanted to create something. I wanted to give life to something. So I did the play. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention. 2015, hashtag I stand with Ahmed. You guys know this story? 14-year-old dude, Sudanese Muslim American, geeks out, says, I'm gonna create a digital clock in 20 minutes because I'm dope, and I'm gonna bring it to school for my teacher, just to impress them. The teacher hears the ticking and says, come to the principal's office. He takes him to the principal's office where he's met by 5 police officers. 5 police officers. One of the police officers, who did not know the kid, looks at him, looks at his profile, says, yep, thought it would be him. You guys know that? Yeah. Then he's interrogated by the police, and they don't allow him to call his parents. He's interrogated by the police, and throughout this whole time, the police officers say, we never really thought it was a bomb because he maintained that it was a clock. Usually when you have a bomb hoax or a bomb threat, what they do is they bring in the bomb unit, they evacuate the school, they keep the kid quarantined, and then they evacuate the bomb. They were taking photos of Ahmed with the digital clock in the room, right? So no one really thought that this was actually a bomb. He gets suspended, then he gets arrested, let out with handcuffs, and he goes to juvenile detention, right? And I'm making a parallel because you could sit there and say, what the hell is happening with this world? Oh my God, there's racism, there's bigotry, let's have despair. But I think there was something really special, something really cool that happened. Hashtag I stand with Ahmed organically started, I think his family reached out, organically started trending. It became the global trending topic yesterday.